It's time to take a look at the latest developments within the aviation industry, and today there's coverage on Hawaiian Airlines launching new routes, United Airlines continuing their expansion into Australia with some pretty big news in that scene, and new aircraft on the horizon, potentially from Comac. Beginning proceedings with United Airlines that are expanding into Australia once more by launching a Los Angeles to Brisbane service with their 787 Dreamliner. This has been launched in time for the upcoming holiday season, and it is a thrice weekly flight from Los Angeles to Brisbane. The 787-9 will be operating the journey and accompany the also daily San Francisco to Brisbane flight offered by the airline. Thanks to this connection from United Airlines, the major US carrier, per reports and data, now offers better connectivity from Australia to North America than Australian flag carrier Qantas. And while a new route announcement, or should I say launch, is always fantastic, I honestly believe that the major takeaway from this is just this one sentence here. The fact that United Airlines is offering better connectivity to North America. Will that change in the future? Potentially as Qantas acquires new aircraft. But for now, the choice when it comes to flying to North America from key Australian ports is largely going to be, for many, United Airlines. The company expansion into the Oceania region has been of considerable focus recently. A few weeks ago, my home city of Melbourne was the focal point for an upgauging of service to San Francisco, with the 787 being substituted for the 777, this of course being a capacity increase. United says the flight will depart Los Angeles on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays in the night. This is part of the mass, I guess you could say, schedule to Oceania destinations that take place from the west coast of North America. All flights heading to your Brisbanes, Aucklands, Sydneys, and Melbournes technically leave around the same time, and it looks like a mass migration of birds. Aside from carrying passengers, United Airlines also plays an essential role in being a crucial trade partner to the state and boosting exports. For example, on the airline's inaugural flight to San Francisco, there were 15 tons of high-quality chilled Queensland beef. However, this inaugural flight is not the only service that includes your vital exports. Following this, United has transported the likes of beef, lamb, seafood, and much more. United and Brisbane airports say that this generates millions of dollars in revenue for Queensland businesses and, more importantly, helps support local jobs. And a bit of a fun image opportunity for Brisbane Airport. They were able to have two United 787s parked side by side as they were having their layovers before jetting off back to Los Angeles and San Francisco, respectively. The Boeing 787 will continue to play a very important role in the United fleet looking ahead. Not only do they already fly the three variants, but deliveries are slated to continue for many, many years to come, opening up not just opportunities for more routes to begin, but also the increasing on capacity for existing services. Over to Comac, a manufacturer you may not be all too familiar with, but one that is trying their best to make a splash. They've unveiled plans to develop their C919 program further with the study and release of potential future variants. The two variants that have been unveiled are short and stretched versions of the currently existing C919 platform, and are very simply named Stretched and Shortened. Comac's concepts were unveiled in Shanghai at their International Commercial, Aviation and Aerospace Industry Exhibition. A bit of a tongue twister there. As a part of these new studies, Comac is trying to find better ways to compete with Airbus and Boeing's narrow-body entries into the market, that is namely your A320neo family and 737 MAX series. The shortened C919 variant would seat around 25 fewer passengers in a similar two-class configuration. You're looking at roughly 140 seats. However, interestingly, the plane maker says this variant will be optimal for flying in and out of some of the more challenging Chinese airports. So is the capacity more of a focus from this, or would you say the key takeaway is the airports it would hypothetically be able to fly in and out of? I definitely think the latter is a noteworthy bullet point. In a two-class configuration, the expectation is that the stretched version would seat around 210. That is an increase on the standard C919, just for some reference, which entered service at 164 seats. This will always be subject to change, depending on how the respective customer does decide to kit the aircraft out. And generally, thanks to these new variants being unveiled, the ambition would be to offer customers more choice than just the standard C919, and the capabilities would suit, therefore, each customer's needs. The aircraft entered service in May of 2023, and generally speaking, the primary mission, as I briefly touched on, is to cater to those companies that had the older generation 737s and A320s, but maybe hadn't either committed yet to the next generation fleet or did still require capacity. Comac wants to slot in with their own offering and be that alternative third party. Comac were initially forecasting a market for this narrow body that could actually tally over 2,000 sales across 2 years. However, when you take a look at analysts' direct responses to these forecasts, well, they do believe the numbers are a little bit skewed, and on top of all of that, there is significant criticism to the Comac design of aircraft overall, with some believing it's too dated, some believing Comac will never truly be able to break out of the Chinese market. So far, it has attracted orders, but again, they're really all just coming from your Air Chinas, China Eastern, China Southern, Sichuans, and so forth. Nothing really noteworthy other than these ones. So it will be interesting to see how not just the series develops, but I guess the plane maker in the future with these potential new variants. Over to the final story of today, that sits with Hawaiian Airlines, that are announcing a pretty sizable expansion utilising their Airbus A321neo aircraft, with new routes set to debut. From May the 15th, 2024, probably one of the headline stories is Hawaiian Airlines touching down in Salt Lake City with plans to operate a daily flight with this A321neo. Hawaiian believes that the optimal timing that will see the flight arrive into Salt Lake City in the morning and arriving into Honolulu also in the morning with your time differences means that you can maximize your day either in Hawaii or Salt Lake City, or better yet, be able to move to connecting flights. However, these new services I speak of don't just stop at Salt Lake City, as Hawaiian continues to put a focus on the likes of Sacramento, with 2 new locations within Hawaii getting a crucial 4 times weekly and a 3 times weekly service launch in 2024. The Airbus A321neo is therefore proving to be a very efficient and pivotal aircraft and allowing them to enjoy some further expansion. Soon they will acquire the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, and you could argue their pathway to operating a very much fleet of next generation planes will be underway. That's going to conclude today's aviation news recap. You can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you very much for your support. I do greatly appreciate it. Please take care and be safe, and I'll see you next time.